Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam. Talking about topics and stuff. Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam podcast. Who? What? Where? Why? Hello and welcome to season 14, episode something of Absolute Bedlam podcast. Hope everyone's well. We've got Mr. Crummy Beard on the show tonight, who is a beer reviewer and a liquid aficionado, as you can see on video. So, how's it going? Are you well?
I am very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy day. I got home at about 6 p.m. and I needed to get some food down me before I started this. So, all the stuff that we biological humans have to do, and eventually we'll get replaced by AI. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Probably, but AI can't taste beer, so I'll wait for a little bit, I think.
That's true. That's true. And are you happy to disclose your real name?
Uh, my name is Tom. I'm happy to disclose that much.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not that
Yeah,
finicky about people knowing my full name, but at the same time, there's some strange people out there. So I
yeah,
figure
definitely.
my name's Tom, and this is what I do. Yeah, that's
There we
that's
go.
fine. If anyone really wants to know, you can message me privately. But
Yeah,
yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. I've not
yeah, yeah.
disclosed it as yet anywhere else, so we'll keep it that way for the time being.
That's fine. That's all good. So the first question I ask everyone, Tom, for the ABP side of life is, how did you find school life?
I reckon, pretty down the middle. Like, not didn't enjoy. I wouldn't go as far as say I enjoyed school. I know there was always that thing where people said, "Oh, you got to enjoy your school years; they're the best bit of your life." I'm like, I kind of don't agree.
Yeah,
To be honest, I think if that is the way that your life pans out, then it feels like quite a quick drop off after the age of 16, which isn't great. It's
yeah,
probably 18 now, isn't it? But you know what
yeah.
I mean. So yeah, no, fine. Didn't get into too much trouble. Didn't Yeah, well, it was okay. It's straight down the middle. It's really quite a boring answer. I was
Yeah.
not massively. I wouldn't. I'm not very good at exams,
Mm,
so I'm not bad at understanding concepts with the right learning in kind of architecture around it. But yeah, just sitting down with a pen and paper and asked to go at it was never my forte. So yeah, it was okay. It was all right.
Can you remember a sort of one-liner as a report card that you would consistently get? So, like, it would always be for me, Ben is quite good at a few things, but he fails to apply himself in a certain field.
Oh, good question. Let me try and rack my brain on this one. It would probably be something. It would probably be something quite similar in that it would probably be a really kind of positive intro, which will be uh, Tom is a delight to teach because I just took that approach of if you don't get involved, then they can't say anything good or bad, if that makes sense. Like you're
Yeah,
there and relatively paying attention. So it would always be that Tom is great to teach, could do with focusing more in kind of study sessions or something like that. It was probably something like along those
yeah,
lines. Yeah, it was. I got on well with most teachers, I think. So that was probably always played in my favour and got away with probably a bit more than other people would have done.
yeah,
Play the
absolutely.
game, that sort of thing.
That's it. Can you remember the naughtiest thing you or someone else in your class slash clique did at school that's worth disclosing on a public forum?
Yeah, I've thought about this. I've got one that's fantastic, but I don't think it's worthy of a public forum.
Yeah,
I say worthy. I don't think they'd appreciate it going out
yeah,
in a
yeah.
public forum, even if they were to remain nameless. Um, I mean, very on brand on multiple school trips. Both me and my friends were quite good at acquiring beer. And on more than one occasion, returned from a school trips a few tins deep. It's probably one of the better things. Yeah, in terms of things we actually did in school, we kind of kept the very extracurriculars outside of school time.
Mm.
There was probably more shenanigans there, but yeah, getting half cut when you're meant to be learning about you know the one that really sticks out is we went down to London. There was like I can't remember what they called it. It was like a French cultural exchange thing
Mm.
where loads of schools went down, and but of course the French are quite liberal with their wine and at what age they give it to people. So that was yeah, we took a good advantage of that.
Why not? Love it. How did you get the name the Crummy Beard?
That was me sat in not this room actually, but another room in my house, going kind of just writing things on a piece of paper. I wanted a YouTube name that wasn't just my name because I don't know, I didn't feel like it. I wanted it to be about the things I was doing, not about me, if that makes sense, as a
Yeah,
person pre on YouTube.
completely.
Um, I didn't want it to be ring fenced to a particular subject
Hmm.
because ultimately I'm one of these people who does get bored if they do exactly the same thing over and over again. And so evolution is necessary to keep my interest in things. And um, I knew there was going to be some sort of food or drink element, and I thought the word crummy, crumbs as in food, but also like the content was like I'll try to make it good, but it's not going to be overly produced. I know some people probably disagree and say it is, but yeah, and but in the grand scheme of things, not overly produced. So it's kind of the content's okay, but could be a bit crummy to some people. That was the kind of half play on words with it. And the beard part, I think, is probably self-explanatory if you're watching this on video. But
Mm.
I didn't want to shave it off, and I thought if I called myself that, I'm not allowed to shave it off. So there we go.
Yeah, hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
it.
So, when and why did you start your YouTube channel? And currently, as of time of talking to you, how much sort of time do you dedicate to it a week?
So it started nigh on 3 years ago. I think it would be early. I don't know when this is going out, but 3 years ago in the kind of first week of February, I think it was. Why? Not my first time making a YouTube video, but my first time being like, I'm going to actually do this properly. So,
Mm.
um, kind of both in school and college and university, I was managed to just do enough to get through higher education in terms of grades, and I mean just. I've always had this kind of IT, computer science heavy one side, and always some sort of artistic bit on the other. So in school, it was IT and just art because there's not a lot of choice in school. College was again IT and computer science and photography, which obviously leads down to eventually down a videography route. And then university was also web development. It was a multimedia course, so it was web development and video production, and I think 3D animation was the other one. I'm really not very good at that, but obviously, I ended up specializing in the web and IT side because I thought there was probably a better chance of a job on the other side of it. um, Given that I don't feel like I'm that talented when it comes to camera work, but I enjoy doing it. So,
Mm.
and then for a few years, kind of had cameras, always taking photos and stuff. But I always liked the idea of video. But then, like, I'd buy a cheap video camera, go out, record some stuff, and ultimately, you never use it, right? Like, you can make home movies, but no one's ever going to watch that. You're not probably not going to watch it back for another 10 years. When you do, you go, why on earth did I make that?
Hmm.
All that kind of stuff. So I was like, I really just want to make some videos, but I need a focus, and it's the reason the name's non-committal. I didn't know what I was going to do. Watched a load of YouTube stuff already. Really love the car scene on YouTube, but was fully aware that I didn't have the time or funds to generate that kind of channel. So I was like, right, let's just do something that is easy to do continuously and see where it leads. Started off with a few food reviews, which were terrible. But very quickly, I dropped into beer, and I'm a rugby fan, and the Six Nations was on, and I was like, okay, let's try and do like pitch a beer from each of the Six Nations for each of the matches.
Mm.
So that ended up being like 16 beers or 20 beers or whatever. Hold on, no, it must be more than that. Anyway, whatever the math is, maybe it's 30. I tried to do that over like each week. It was awful. It was too long. It was bad. But I was like, hold on. I've always liked talking about beer. So this kind of makes sense as a route to explore.
Mm.
That was quite a long winded answer. I appreciate.
No, it's
Um,
cool. Yeah, it's interesting.
but in terms of how much time I dedicate to it, so I currently run on a video every third day schedule, or try to. So that's what, 2.3 videos a week. My maths is about right. Each one of those takes in the region of 30 to 45 minutes to film, including a bit of setup, probably an hour to edit, and then another 30 minutes on social posting, admin, thumbnails, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
whatever the math is on that, it's there. I don't know how many hours it is a week. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
probably in the region of 4 to 6, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Sometimes it creeps over, I'm sure, but yeah.
Mhm. You've got quite an interesting origin story in the fact that like you just mentioned, you did food and then you kind of dipped straight away. But one thing I've noticed when I interview YouTubers is usually their first video, like the views on it seem to be astronomical compared to stuff that you do after. Whereas I'm looking at your top, like your first like 5 or 6 videos. So the
Yeah.
Weetabix Beans one got 460 views. Then you
Wasn't the first
kind of,
video, incidentally. I've taken some of
oh,
those early
okay.
ones off, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that was still within the first week or two, though.
yeah,
That is still definitely an early one.
yeah. Then you kind of coasted on about 600 views a video, and then you did Metal Whiskey, which I didn't even know Slipknot made a whiskey, but that one did over 1,000 views. So I imagine at that point you're like, okay, right, we've got something here in terms of a kind of genre, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit. So what's interesting when you look back on YouTube channels and what views videos got, a lot of those views wouldn't have been there at the time within the first few weeks
Yeah.
of me recording that.
Yeah.
So I think that that Slipknot whiskey video probably did
Mm.
100, 150 views in the first month, and I was really excited at that because you've got no platform, so that's really good. All those others have come subsequently over the years, just
Yeah.
drip feeding in. But um, yeah, it was about finding just something that I felt like I could talk about with some level of understanding and knowledge, and might help other people that aren't quite
Yeah.
as experienced with it. I do not profess to be an expert in any of it by any means.
So, what made you want to share Weetabix beans to the world? What made you press publish on that video?
That was about, I say, that was literally about a week in. I'd done a series of videos. They'd not done anything. I wasn't that happy with them, and I was out there. I was just looking for what can I do to try and get a foothold in the door
Hmm.
somehow. Make something. Try and because I was very aware, and also because of my day job, web dev stuff, I'm very aware of how SEO works and how
Yeah.
algorithms operate. And I
Yeah.
knew full well that if I just kept uploading videos that went from 5 views to 10 views to 15 views to 25 views to over the course of a few months, it would never, it would take it would take an awful good amount of luck to get that to move any quicker, basically. It was going to be a really slow grind. So I was like, okay, the only solution then, let's go and try and find something that is already viral trending. And it basically literally opened Instagram and there were a load of reactions to this concept. I can't remember who did it first. I think it was Weetabix themselves sharing
Yeah.
recommendations that their commenters had supplied.
Right.
And it just like it took off. It went into a bit of a frenzy on their thing. So I was like, let's jump on the back of that. How bad can it really be?
Mm.
It was awful, by the way. Don't do it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you get the
Yeah. Yeah.
that was it. It was just let's see if we can monopolize on this thing that's just happens to be happening right now.
Mm. It's always interesting to me from a YouTube perspective of how sort of unpredictable and how strange the view count can be on videos to the point where I don't really care about when this goes out. Like it'll probably be in like April, by the way. Um, I've lost all sort of faith in the fact that I will consistently get 350 views on a video. It really does seem to be random. It's very strange to me, but there are some massive YouTubers that they can like comfortably say, I'll get 2.2 million views on this video. And they're usually right. and that's some insane like grinding analytics, which I just don't truly have the time for, to be honest. So I tend to just press publish and just see what happens and share it on my socials. But yeah,
Yeah, it's a massive rabbit hole. We could probably do a 2 hour chat
yeah,
just about the understandings of analytics
exactly.
and algorithms. It's a whole nother discussion that one, I think.
Yeah. Whilst we're on the subject of the great platform that is YouTube, how have you embraced shorts? Because that seems to be their sort of new escapade into the world at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, good segue because we're going to go straight back into the problems of algorithmics and all that stuff. So my most viewed video, full stop, on any platform is a YouTube short on pouring a can of Guinness. It's not the best video. I did it really early on. I actually uploaded it to a second channel because there was this thing. Because YouTube Shorts must have dropped about 6 months into me doing this. So about 2.5 years ago, and there was a lot. It was an experimental feature at that time. You couldn't go on your phone and actively say I want to upload a short. You had to upload something that was less than a minute with a hashtag of short on it, I think.
Okay.
And um, so there was a lot. I did some reading up on it, and there was some concern about how it would affect your regular day-to-day content if you used it on your main channel. Of course, in hindsight, I didn't really have a main channel with whatever, with a few dozen subscribers and getting 10 views a video. That's not a channel. Like it's sorry, like it's not really. It's still not now. It's still tiny, but you know what I mean. In hindsight, I should have just been experimental and ran with it, and it probably would have been for the best. I copied what some massive channels did, which was create a second shorts channel, uploaded it to that, never did anything else with the channel, ignored it, logged onto it a year later, and it had done 50,000 views, which was by far bigger than anything I'd ever done before. I was like, oh, damn, okay. So I thought, well, that channel's not going to do anything, so take it down off there, re-upload it to my one, and it's just taken off. I don't know if you've got the stats in front of you now, but it's done some silly numbers for a small channel.
Yeah, I'll have a look. Yeah, pouring a can of Guinness. Like, who, like, this is what I mean. I don't get it. It's so bizarre that, like, I went
So
to,
that one did particularly well because a lot of
yeah.
people in the world wanted to tell me that I was wrong.
Mm, mm,
And interaction of any sort is a big green check for the algorithm. So
yeah, true. Just trying to find it. I went to a gig a couple of weeks ago. Went to Don Broco in Bournemouth, and I recorded a 25-second segment of one of their songs, put it up on TikTok, and I think it did 1,500 views in 12 hours. And then it's
yeah,
gradually got, yeah, bloody hell, man, 318,000 views.
yeah,
And
it's
then the
crazy.
next one next to it's got 24. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how is,
Yeah, so and as a
yeah,
result of that, I'm like, okay, there's definitely some like thing here with shorts. It's definitely good. Now, if
yeah,
I upload a short, I'll be lucky if it gets 10 views. It just doesn't share it around for me. I
yeah,
uploaded one last week, say
yeah.
identical video to YouTube and TikTok. The YouTube one has got uh, about 25 views at most, and the TikTok one, I'm just going to find it for you, has got over 32,500.
So,
It's magnitudes of thousands more. It's just insane.
yeah, it's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I feel like we talked a lot about
Yeah,
stats and numbers.
yeah,
always feel like there's a YouTube thing where people are like we've got to be cool. We don't care about the numbers. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
We don't care about the numbers.
yeah,
I care about the numbers because I care about knowing that I'm making content that people are interested in
yeah, yeah,
because ultimately I can if I get a product if I get a product that sounds very clinical. If I buy a beer or a whiskey that I'm pretty confident
mm,
is too niche for much interest for most people, I just enjoy it by myself.
mm,
The niche stuff, and I might post it on Instagram because I feel like I want to, if it's really good, I'll be like, guys, this is fantastic. But I often won't go through the intensive process of making a video on it
yeah.
because ultimately it needs to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I want to make stuff that people are interested in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I feel like where were we on the questions? Because I've got completely lost.
that's all right. You're just saying that you want the videos to be interesting and you want people to learn.
Yeah, sorry, but before that, did I answer your previous question? I've completely forgotten where we are.
I can't remember, mate, to be honest.
Oh, it was about shorts. You asked about if it was
Yeah,
very
yeah,
short. So
yeah,
yes, but YouTube only wants to show anyone one of my shorts and none of the others.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
your answer.
There we go. Awesome. Probably got two more questions before we go to a break. Um, so who made your logo for YouTube,
I did.
Instagram? You've made all of that yourself.
Yeah.
It's very clean. I like it.
Thank you.
It's nice to
I
have
try. I try.
a sort of centerpiece to the channel because some people just
Yeah.
upload like Blue Van Man, for example. He's just got himself doing that, and you know, it's
And
interesting what
look, not
people pick.
everyone has different skills. Some people are much better at talking to a camera than I am and talking non-stop and don't have to do any editing because it just flows out.
Yeah,
I'm not that person, but I know how to use some software, so use that
yeah,
bit to my advantage. You can actually see my old logo on the pump clip here
yeah,
is even
yeah,
simpler.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm quite happy with the new one for now. It can
yeah.
stay for a bit.
Start simple, work your way up, add some color.
Yeah.
All good.
So
Um,
do excuse my dog. The dog has just broken into the room.
Not at all, not at all. We love a dog. Have you met any other YouTubers in real life slash at beer conventions, etc., since starting
uh,
YouTube?
yeah. Excuse the door. Yes, I have met uh, John from Lord's Brewing, although he's not
Hmm.
at Lord's Brewing at this current moment. Mark from the Craft Beer Hub, who
Hmm.
is on hiatus. It's not going well, this list, is it?
No, it's all right.
Um, uh, Paul from Paul's Beer Reviews, Chris of Chris's Beer Reviews, Raggy, if you're familiar with Raggy, he's
No,
also in Nottingham, reviewer.
I'll check him out.
Um, and there'll be more that I'm now going to feel bad about not remembering because my memory is terrible. There is someone else. Red Dog. He's a home brewer become turned into an official brewery. He's in Nottingham as well. Red Dog Ales. He's got a YouTube channel, and there will be others. And my memory has just gone down the pan. Oh, I've met Andros Beer Selfies on Instagram. I don't know if you follow him. He's got quite a big following.
No, I haven't followed it.
He turned up at an event just before Christmas. Met him. That's about yeah, half a dozen, maybe a couple more.
You met Simon, Real Ale Craft Beer?
I haven't. We've not yet crossed paths, actually. He goes to a lot of the
Mm,
big beer festivals. I struggle to get further afield, especially in the middle in the week.
yeah,
Got too many dogs to look after and all that
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff. So some of those big London events, I do struggle to get to. I've not got to any yet. I will try. I do try every year and try and make it work. But so far, yeah, it hasn't happened.
I think Mark from Craft Beer Hub was saying that he tries to go in as press, and if it doesn't quite work out, he'll just go as a normal person. But, yeah,
I don't. I've never requested a trade ticket. I've been given some for some local ones, so
yeah,
not the big Nottingham Beer Festival. I've gone as trade for the last 2 years. Um, the people at Blue Monkey, whose beer you've got sat in front of you, I
yeah,
believe,
yeah.
very
There it
kindly
is.
have given me a ticket the last 2 years for that. But yeah, otherwise, no, I've not been anywhere else as press.
Mm,
I get why people do it because it is easier to film on press days if you want to go and create content. Um, I always get, I always leave going to these events with the intention of making great content. I get there and realize that what I really enjoy about these things is just walking around, talking to people, and drinking beer, and not focusing too much on camera work, which is
totally.
difficult. I always try and
Yeah,
do something, but yeah, I very rarely do like a whole day's coverage or anything like that.
yeah. There's definitely a fine line between turning your hobby into work and just enjoying it for what it is, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
got to keep the passion, otherwise it just becomes a chore.
Yeah, completely. Everything is work and you become sad. Um,
Yeah.
right, so we've got one more question, then we'll go to a break. Thoughts on dry January? What do you personally think of it? Do you think it's a fad, or do you think it's something that is fantastic? What do you reckon?
Um, I don't think it's a fad. I I think if you're genuinely sat in a position where you go, I need to not drink for a month for my own physical and mental well-being, then good on you for recognizing that and doing it. Fantastic. Um, I I don't necessarily like the like we go through this like instant demonization of anything alcohol based as soon as we get to January. Like it was all cool in December, but now we got to January, we can't do anything. It's like that's fine, but those pubs and breweries that you love still need to pay their bills in January. So let's maybe don't go as hard in December and just you know what I mean. Like it's all about balance.
Yeah,
Um, and ultimately, I've got loads of family and friends' birthdays in January, so the chance of me getting a dry January without ruining someone's birthday is probably pretty slim. So it's probably not going to happen for me. But after you've got to. I take days and days off, not reviewing, not drinking anything when I feel like maybe I did overcook it a bit or done too much in too quick a succession, too many strong ones. But I just try and do it throughout the year, decent gaps, rather than just being like, right, January we're not doing anything. But each their
yeah,
own.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to try some new stuff. I'm not much of a beer drinker myself, so as we've alluded to off camera, we've both got some of this clean break progression pale ale. I think yours is inbound. Um,
Mine is
and
in the
it's
box,
just
yes.
a nice opportunity to try some AF beer. I was recently on someone's podcast called Brain Stew, and they did an undrunk cast because they used to do drunk casts, and it was, turns into pandemonium after sort of 2.5 hours of getting pissed up. And it was a nice
Yeah.
sort of opportunity to actually have a full-on conversation with someone rather than like falling off your chair and just laughing for an hour, you know. So yeah, I think there's two sides to it. Obviously, if you are like a full-on alcoholic, then you're probably going to need to seek some help. But if you're a casual drinker, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But I think a lot of people compare this to like eating like vegan burgers, which is also fine. It's a crash diet sort of thing sometimes to some people.
The message should always be do what you want
Yeah,
within reason, as long as it's not hurting anyone else,
yeah,
and but don't force others into it. Don't make people feel bad if they don't want to. I
yeah,
think that's the do what's right for you, not necessarily what's right for everyone else or you think is right. Just don't get preachy about stuff, basically.
yeah. Don't ram it down people's throats. Yeah, yeah, completely. Fair enough. Right, we're going to go to a quick break. I'm going to ask you some brewery questions after the break, and we're going to try this Blue Monkey Mosaic Session Pale Ale. This is one of many beers that you've sent me, so I just want to quickly say thank you for that because that's not
You're
happened
welcome.
before, so massively appreciate that. And I'll
Anytime.
give you a reaction in a minute, and it will be my honest thoughts on where I think it's at. And you've got is it a beer glass you've got from Blue Monkey in the corner?
I have got a Blue Monkey glass and I have a beer. It's not the same one that you've got, but I
Okay.
had every intention of going to the brewery and picking up the same ones that I sent you.
Yeah.
And truthfully, just completely ran out of time this week. So this is a slightly older one that I've had for a couple of months, sat in the fridge. It's a ginger pale ale at 6%.
Ginger
Let's have a
pale
quick
ale.
look for the camera for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not in production at time of recording, but actually, by the
Okay.
time this goes out, it may well be back in the shop. So
We
it's
go.
very good anyway.
It's like it's all planned. Right, let's go to a quick break, and I'll speak to you in a second. All right. Cheers for watching so far,
See
guys.
you in a sec.
Bye.
Do you need that extra burst of energy? Do you need motivation? Do you need that X factor? Well, Go Energy has you covered. Whatever gets your juices flowing. Whatever you need to let your hair down. Have a go at it all with Go Energy. Gluten-free, vegan-friendly, and no artificial additives. Go Energy. Use code Bedlam10 at checkout.
And we are back. So welcome back. Right. So, Crummy Beard, what do you look for in a new up-and-coming brewery? What do you think people's obligations, I suppose, are nowadays compared to the sort of days of, just having a couple of beers out there? seems to be a bit of a saturated market nowadays, and it's very hard to sort of pick a specific lane. So what do you expect from a beer and a brewery nowadays?
So I guess there's the how you choose what to try
Yeah,
bit, which is largely around marketing and presentation, and
yeah,
then there's what actually gets delivered. In terms of the marketing, um, I'm looking for a degree of honesty. If it feels over,
mm,
what's the word? Overdone,
honest.
overproduced,
Yeah,
just too clean almost. Like,
yeah,
most brewers aren't branding experts, right? And so if someone's come in, I can. How do I word this? People that work in anything to do with marketing can often spot when something's been put together by a marketing agency. There's like I don't know what it is, but it just feels too almost slightly sanitized, like they're not really in what they're doing.
yeah.
And obviously the really good ones, not so much because they get it, but kind of that mid tier, you can always kind of spot it. So I'm looking for something that doesn't feel like that. Feels like it's got some relevance to where it's come from. It's not just a we are generic craft brewery, we make craft beer.
Mm,
It needs to be. I feel what I'm looking for. We make craft beer. In the foothills of the Scottish Lowlands using fresh water. We make. We're doing it by this. We're doing it in Cornwall by the sea. You know what I mean? That kind of
yeah,
that local. I'm looking for that locality hook,
yeah,
because ultimately that is going to impact the beer. And if they're not doing that, I'm like, why aren't you proud of where you're doing it and what you're doing? Almost, I'm looking
mm,
for a bit of that to be involved.
yeah,
And it doesn't have to be really overt, and sometimes you have to dig around a bit to find it. But most breweries, at some level, will be like, "We are here. This is our style. This is what we're doing." In terms of delivery, right now, me personally, I'm looking for really well balanced beer. So I'm looking for a showcase of all the ingredients and the water used and all of that kind of stuff, not just another really hoppy IPA because I'm bored of them. I think
yeah,
most people probably are at this point. Like, I don't want a punk IPA or a gamma ray clone from anyone. Like, I want their spin. I want their thing. Telling me on the tin what hops are used, um, stuff like that. Just so it's like you can tell they're invested in that particular product. Like they're proud of it. They're not going to hide away from anything. They're going to tell you what's in it.
mm,
That's
yeah.
kind of my that's kind of my approach.
I know what you mean. Yeah, we got hops, mosaic, and magnum for this one that I'm about to try. Is there a
Yeah.
specific name
So
to
this
it? Is
is
it just Mosaic Session Pale Ale? Is that its name?
it's just mosaic. Yeah, it's just mosaic session pale. So just to give everyone listening a bit of background, so Blue Monkey are my geographically closest brewery. In a straight line, they're probably about 3.5, 4 miles away,
Yeah,
and uh, they're one of these breweries that existed kind of just before craft beer took off. So they came in and they were doing a lot of the kind of, I guess, trad ales, real ale stuff. Because if you weren't Heineken at that point in time, that's what
mm,
you made, right? There was kind of only that one or the other.
yeah,
Um, and then they're really good at it as well. That trad stuff, like I've got a bit of a soft spot for, and they were and still are incredible at it. But there's a bit of a cliquey thing in craft breweries where and sellers of craft beer, the really kind of geeky stuff, where they kind of don't want to be involved with anyone who ever did the trad thing.
mm,
There's a bit of a young and old kind of bit, and they are. I mean, I'm hoping you like it, but they are incredibly capable brewers. Their craft stuff, I think, is sensational, and they deserve a bit more recognition, I think, than they get for it.
yeah,
So I bang on about them all the time. Anyone who's listened to me before will know that they're probably bored of hearing about it, to be honest. But
mm,
if someone says to me, one brewery where you're buying from, it's them. Pretty much. There are others I talk about a lot as well, but
yeah,
also it's the support local thing. That's just, yeah.
yeah,
I'm passionate for them, and yeah, I like what they do.
yeah. Let's give it a go. Right, bit of ASMR for everyone listening. You've got your beer. Are you gonna crack that one open?
Yeah, I'm going to crack this open. We
It's
can't
just
we can't have
what's yours
only one
again?
beer going on stream. This is
Ginger
the ginger pale ale at
pale ale.
6%. This is
Okay.
yeah. If you like your ginger beers but want it to be a bit more beer focused, this is a
Yeah, I
solid
might have
one.
to give that a go when it's in production. Yeah, sounds interesting. Right, well, cheers. If I can get the fucking camera to work.
You're about to show your
Just gonna
green
drink
screen
it.
doesn't like the cans.
No, it doesn't. I'm just gonna drink it from the can.
That's fine. You do you.
Yep. Cheers
Cheers, everyone.
to YouTube.
That is good.
Yeah, that is good. I like that. I really like the
Yeah,
design of
you
it.
approve?
Yeah, that's really nice. The big
Good.
can as well. It's been a while since I've actually had like a big can of beer. I'm used to having a
That's a
330.
good. Yeah, it's good sessionable stuff. That it seems to be flying flying out from what I've heard. So yeah,
Well,
good
what's
reviews all around.
this? 4.3%. So yeah, sessionable. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'll carry on with that in a minute. So, when you're looking for a new beer to try, how
Yep.
important do you think can artwork is to you? Because myself, I tend to look at things and I don't know, I suppose I'm a bit of a magpie. I tend to look for things that appeal to me first, and then I'll buy the beer and take it home and drink it. But it has to be striking enough for me to go, what's that? Like,
Okay. So I mean, I'm not the normal consumer. Is probably the first thing to say. I've got too much. I've got too much knowledge at this point, probably, in terms of, or knowledge is probably the wrong word. Well, it is knowledge, but it's not necessarily correct knowledge. I've got too much anticipation of what I'm expecting from any given style, any given hot profile, any given brewery, any given location. Like I've got because I don't know how many beers I've drank now and reviewed, but it's quite a few.
yeah,
So I've got I've got a what's yeah
a certain authority.
an expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got I've got no authority at all. I've got an expectation of what I've got an expectation of what any given can is going to be like. Whether I'm
Yeah,
right or not is a different matter. So I'm again, and I've been stung too many times with the shiny cans.
yeah.
I there's always like I've started to work out a process by which go that's almost too nice, so I don't trust it
Mm,
for some reason. So it's a bit. I'm looking for something in the middle. I'm also looking for styles that I fancy at the time, which comes with that beer knowledge. You start to understand even the differences in different types of pale ale. For example, most people that go it's just a pale ale, it's fine, but there's actually 35 different sub variants which are going to massively impact how the beer tastes. So um, yeah, it's a case of finding for me, a lot of the time it's new stuff, right? Because I'm oversaturated at this point. I'm overexposed to it all. So I'm just going out there going, have I heard of this brewery before? Do I like the sound of the beer? I don't really care what the can looks like. If I've not heard of it and it sounds okay, I'm going to try it because I want to know about that brewery.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That sense of discovery and curiosity. I think that's essential, really, isn't it? Because otherwise you kind of end up gatekeeping yourself, preventing yourself from enjoying something.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Try and forget about what you think you know about that thing. There's
Yeah.
always a good route.
I've always been a real sucker for hazy beer. I think that that's probably my preferred, just that sort
Okay.
of high carbonation and fizz. I love it. Can't get enough of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's a bit more. Normally a lot of haze. It depends on the beer style, but it'll either come. Excuse me,
It's all right.
getting ginger beer stuck in my throat. It'll either come from an absolute abundance of hop. So if you like it really green and grassy and piney and like
Mm,
dank, then that's hop focused. You get hazy beer that's like typically the Belgian stuff that's all driven from the yeast.
right.
When you get into wheat beer territory, which are hazy, and that's all because of the addition of different, well, what wheat in terms of the malt. But quite a lot of the time now, you'll find hazy beers that don't taste that hoppy, and that's because they've tried to emulate it by using less hop and putting some wheat in there because the wheat's cheaper to get the
Yeah.
same effect. but it won't obviously doesn't taste the same. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Interesting. It
million
really
and one
is
thing. I'm
a.
geeking out about beer, and everyone turned off. I
It,
do
it
apologise.
really is an adventure, isn't it? Beer. It's not as simple as some people think. Right.
Well, it
So
doesn't have to be. You can buy the same thing every day if you want to.
yeah, of course. Yeah, if you want to be a middle of the road kind of guy, then crack on. Yeah, all good. Do you think brewers and beer companies need to do more with social media? So what I mean by that, let me elaborate, is when I first started doing this 3 years ago, I thought to myself, what do I like and what do other people like? And I thought coffee and beer. You'll notice on the podcast that I don't actually have a coffee or a beer sponsor because these people are so hard to get on your side to the point where I've actually like taken a day off work in the past and gone to like an industrial estate where I know there's like 4 or 5 beer companies. And you can like fill out their contact form on their website. You can email info at blah blah blah, but the email will never get to the person that makes the decision. And
Yeah.
I've just gotten a little bit sort of frustrated recently because I've been trying to help some of my other friends' podcasts out as well and trying to sort of get them to get a sponsor and stuff. And literally, the only way I've found any success within the beer market for sponsorship is like someone will do like a trial run for 3 months using like the code Bedlam10 or something. But I've literally had to go to like the brewery and sort of try my luck rather than
Yeah.
do it digitally through a DM or something on Instagram. Have you had that experience before, or am I just being really cynical?
I understand. I have no doubt that your experience is accurate and probably replicated all over the country. But I know why that is, and that is that most breweries, unless you get to the point where you're looking at talking to people who are in the supermarkets already, they'll be a bit bigger and have a lot more of a capacity for handling inquiries like that.
Yeah.
Most of the others, everyone in there is probably working 3 different jobs at the same
Mm,
time,
good point. Yep.
and ultimately they are just busy. The cost of beer is getting more expensive. They don't want it, and it's not by design, if that makes, as in they're not putting their prices up because they think they can make a few more quid. They're putting their prices up because if they don't, they're going under. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So when someone comes up and says, "Oh, would you be interested in
Mm,
sponsoring us?" Well, I mean, they're struggling anyway financially, so that's one problem. It's more time out of their day when they could be trying to make money selling actual beer to someone else.
yeah, true.
Um, so it's just it is a it can be a frantic industry in
Yeah.
terms of the actual people on the ground. So yes, they definitely do need to do more social media work. Um, but at this point in time, everything's tricky, and I don't think they've got the expenditure to do it. A lot of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that will change.
Yeah. I'm not trying to manifest it through a rant. Just I've
No,
noticed
I,
that
I, I understand it.
there's certain bandwidth for charitable donations. And I've had some awkward conversations with sponsors in the past where I've said, if you send me some stuff, then I'll put it on the podcast and I'll, show it to the camera. And obviously, if that doesn't generate sales for them, then it's kind of let's just give a crate of beer to this guy and hope that he can turn water into wine. And it can get a
Yes,
bit awkward sometimes if you're just constantly asking for stuff off people all the time. It's got to work both ways. It's got to complement each other.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I don't. I try. Have I ever? I'm trying to. I don't want to say I have never, because and then someone tell me that I'm wrong. Send a screenshot from 3 years ago that I've forgotten about. But I don't think I've ever asked for a sample to review. I
yeah,
try not to, because ultimately, I've definitely messaged people asking, is it possible for me to buy less volume than you normally sell on your website because I don't want to create a 12 for one review.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but I don't think I've ever asked for a freebie to go away and review. I've certainly been given a few, and I always tell people in the videos when that's the case. But
yeah,
um, yeah, I just always have this thing like, well, I'm trying to support this industry, so I'm trying not to take things away from it, if that makes sense.
yeah.
But Yeah, it's a tricky one for sure.
It is, and there's also an advantage to being a free agent, I think, where you can say whatever you want. And obviously, if someone sends you something, you feel sort of obligated to say, yeah, this is actually quite good. But it's so important. Like, two of my favorite YouTubers, Blue Van Man and Scott and Wonder. Scott is very, very down the line where I'm like, mate, if someone sent you a beer, you can't just like slag it off. But
Well,
he's
it's
just
not.
so true, you know?
Yeah, it's not happened yet that I've received a beer that I didn't. Is that the thing is though? I review in a way that I think is quite. I try to be quite pragmatic with it. So I understand where there are styles that I personally don't like,
Mm.
but it's a personal preference thing, not that the beer is intrinsically bad. So I will review those and say it tastes like this, which I don't like, but for these reasons,
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
quality otherwise seems to be there. I've
yeah,
never had anything sent where or been given where it's just categorically awful
yeah.
and had to say so, thankfully. If that was the case, I wouldn't put the video out,
Yes,
if I'm
fair enough.
honest,
Yeah.
because I ultimately, okay, yes, people like it when people go on a rant about a bad product. I get it. It's
Yes, they do.
funny, it's
Yeah.
whatever. But ultimately, I'm not trying to downplay anyone's business. If I've gone out to the shop and spent £6 on a craft can and it's bad, I'm going to tell you because that's to me feels like they're taking the mick.
Yeah.
Like if it's genuinely poor, because I feel like they know it's poor as well, but they've done it anyway.
Yeah.
But when it's when it's a small company starting up, just trying to get a bit of traction, I just won't put it out. I'll say I'm really sorry. It's not gonna. It's not gonna. I mean, I can put it out for you if you want, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
get
for
you.
us. So yeah, that's my solution to being always honest. Is if I don't want to infringe someone and don't want to annoy them, but also don't want to lie to anyone, just don't do the content.
Yeah.
And if people ask me, say, have you ever tried anything from them? What do you think? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you, turn around and tell you I think it's all right and it wasn't. I'll tell you what my experience was, but I don't necessarily need to publish a video about it.
No, you need that line of inquiry from someone first for you to be able to answer it rather than just going around slagging everyone off. Yeah,
Yeah,
completely.
absolutely.
So other than beer, you've got quite a lot going on behind you. You quite like the liquor and whiskey and, as we mentioned earlier, the
Whiskey,
Slipknot Iowa stuff. So
yeah, whiskey is my other passion. Interestingly, I very nearly did a whiskey video before I did a beer video on YouTube.
yeah,
And I sat there with my very modest collection at the time, and I was like, I've got a few things here. They're quite interesting. I might do it, but I just didn't feel like I had enough knowledge
mm,
to make to do the video justice. I knew that I liked it, but I didn't necessarily know why I liked it or what the different styles were. And then, as I said, as I kind of alluded to earlier, I said if I do the same thing over and over and over again,
mm,
I eventually start to get a bit tired of it and need a bit of a change up. So about a year ago, I started to feed in a little bit of whiskey content because what I realized was it's a great opportunity for me to learn about something I'm interested in that I don't necessarily know a lot about. So almost half of my content now at the minute it ebbs and flows. Like December was almost all beer because there was loads of Christmas beers out. As a result of that, to the point that we are actually now filming this in the second week of January, wherever we are, everything to this point that's been out on the channel has been whiskey based because kind of just offsetting it a bit. But I'm trying to do both because both are intrinsically things that I'm interested in, and one, you know what I mean. It gives you space to move around and try
yeah,
different try different things and not get bored with one or the other, basically. So
completely. Yeah,
yeah, it's very much beer and whiskey reviews at this point in time.
yeah. No, fair enough. Um, Random questions. I don't know if you did listen to the Mark episode, the Craft Beer Hub one. I don't know if this one was in it. This is probably the most
I
out there
did listen to
question.
it.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Um, when you take the bins out,
You did
do you
ask
know
this, yeah.
do you know which bin you need to take out, or do you have to follow the
Um,
neighbour's example?
so Um, as I also said earlier, my memory is terrible. I will forget
Yeah,
everyone's name. I'll forget where I met you and what we talked about before. My memory is just shot. It's probably all the whiskey sat behind me, to be fair. But anyway, so I have engineered a calendar into my phone to tell me what bin I need to take out on what day. Because
Jesus.
I also
Yeah, yeah.
can't trust my neighbours because some of them just leave their bins out all week long.
You don't need that kind of negativity in your life, do you? Bloody
No,
hell.
you don't. So I do it myself, but yes, I sat down one day and just engineered it, knowing full well that I'd forget what the right one is. When it changes though, because of a bank holiday, I'm
Yeah.
screwed. I have to go sort of scrolling back through things like that. It starts to get a bit sketchy then, but otherwise, yeah, I'm on the ball, but only thanks to technology.
There we go. Thanks, technology. Is there anything it can't do? Bloody hell. There's a guy that's like
We take the bin out.
engineered.
That'd be good.
Yeah, there's a guy that's engineered some sort of wheelie bin nightlight or something. I've seen it on Facebook, and it goes a certain color depending on which one you need to take out. And just
I could do that.
yeah, I'll try and find a
Yes,
picture and send it to you. Yeah.
interesting.
Awesome. Next question. Do you believe in the paranormal, ghosts, superstition, anything strange?
I mean, you only have to walk through Nottingham on a Friday night. There's definitely something strange going on. But so intrinsically, no. I'm very much. I'm a bit of a science bod. I'm not very good at it, and I'm not very bad at remembering it, but I enjoy it. So my my primary brain says, without any sort of actual proof, then I'm not really delving down this route. That said, uh, and I know you like to ask people this about experiences.
Yeah.
Um, I did once go into some nearby woodland. It was in a we were kids and we shouldn't have gone in there because it was like a conservation area. You're not meant to
Mm.
go in. Didn't damage anything, or that we knew. And it's in the grounds of an old manor house. And we went in there, found a big old fallen tree log, sat on that for a bit, and like in the like you could see like a dilapidated building, oh just like through the trees. And we're like, all right, looks a bit creepy, not going there. That leave it, go away. Anyway, we remember it. Several of us, it's fine. I'm like, so this is like pre any social media, pre Google. Well, Google probably existed, but not in the capacity it does now. Anyway, years later, I'm like, oh, where was that? Let's go and have a look. Anyway, so Google Earth is now a thing.
Mhm.
Go and look it up. This thing never existed there. This building did not exist. And several people remember the building. So I don't have an explanation for that, unless we were inebriated at the time. I don't think we were, but it's not impossible. But yeah, weird is
I
all
like
I can
that.
say.
Not had
Weird.
that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weird one.
It's weird when it's a physical building though. Like, fair enough, if I left this on the table and then the next day it had managed to get into the recycling bin or something, do you know what I mean? But when it's a
Yeah.
physical asset, like,
Mm.
a whole
Yeah,
building.
it was like
Yeah.
like a really small monastery.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's creepy. But
Silent Hill vibes.
but ultimately not really, because I need facts and figures to back this stuff. So
Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough.
we'll put it down to misremembering, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it makes you think. Absolutely. Any shout outs you want to give any other YouTubers, content creators, any breweries, anything like that, then I'll give you about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes to just go mental.
Oh wow! I wish I knew about this before, because now I'm going to just miss people out. So we'll go through the people I talk to most often. Obviously, Lord's Brewing Co. John is not currently working with them, but they still make great beer up in Yorkshire, so go check them out anyway. That YouTube channel has now changed to something called Nerd in Motion, which is John's new channel focused around cars and him ranting about EVs for the most part. So if you fancy a bit of that, go check him out. And the Craft Beer Hub, he says he's left, but I don't know if he'll return. So I think he will, and he's a great guy, Mark. Paul's beer reviews, Chris's beer reviews, and then you know what? I'm going to go completely off piste and start shouting out other channels that I watch a lot of. So in the whiskey space, Bruzel, Brewzle, massive channel in the US, find him very entertaining. car stuff, Seen Through Glass is my favourite by far. He's just got his dream car this week. It'll be obviously a few months ago when this comes out, but I just find him the most genuine of that scene, if that makes sense. And brewery wise, Blue Monkey obviously already talked about, but yes, go check them out. Glen Speen Brewery up in just outside Fort William in Scotland, where I spend a lot of time there. Fantastic, make some great Scottish ales. Black Isle Brewery over in Inverness as well, absolutely fantastic. And they've got two great bars, one in Inverness and one in Fort William, where I spend an awful lot of time when I'm up there. There's endless, honestly. The amount of breweries I've got to shout out would be ridiculous. I'm going to have to cut it short, but they're the ones I go to where I'm like, these guys are really sticking it. Just stand out for me in terms of like, I just really enjoy their stuff. Won't be for everyone, I'm sure, but they are absolutely fantastic. I think we'll leave it there because otherwise I'm just going to end up missing too many, saying too many and then missing some out rather than just missing loads out and doing.
No,
this
I get it. I get it. So. When is that ginger pale ale going to be available for people to buy?
I don't know because I don't work for them. Unfortunately, when you buy this beer, it doesn't actually financially benefit me at all. But you should buy it anyway because I like them. But I not yet. So I was told it was going back into brew at some point early this year. We're filming this in January, so hopefully by the time it's out, the podcast is out, it'll be there. But of course, if it's not and you fancy it, drop them a message on Instagram. Let them know that you're interested. It might speed the process up. Who knows?
I might do that. I'm a sucker for ginger beer. I don't have it very often, so give it a shot.
It's good. It's good. It's like it's proper. It's a pale ale with ginger rather than being like a fizzy poppy ginger beer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if you don't try, you never know. All good. Plans for the future?
Absolutely. Trying to work out how to make videos bigger and better. And that is ultimately my. I want to improve. You know what I mean? Like I don't like sitting around doing the same thing all the time, and I feel like I want to be heading in a positive trajectory, making things better for people to enjoy. I don't know what that looks like yet. I'm still working on it. Hopefully, by the time this goes out, the videos that I'm making then are better than the videos I made this week. But who knows? We'll see. But yeah, just focusing in on how to improve my own skills. That's it really. And trying as many things as possible without delving into alcoholism if possible.
So it's a bonus. Right, so Tom, there's 1 hour left before the world ends. Apart from time travel, you can teleport, by the way. What are you going to do?
Okay. So the world's ending anyway, right? So that's kind of a by the by. So can we teleport indefinitely? Can I get as many places as I want?
Yeah, 1 hour. Yeah.
How long does it take? In 1 hour, right? Okay. So
yeah.
How many times can you do this? Is the question. So how long does it take to teleport?
20 seconds to teleport, but we'll put it at 10 times.
Oh, that's fine. No, I don't need that many. So basically, grab my nearest and dearest and the dogs. Quick teleport to whatever I think is the best brewery in the world at that point, grab a load of beer, then a quick teleport into the best distillery going, then probably teleport up to the top of Ben Nevis and watch it all unfold up there and have a party because there's nothing else you can do then, right?
Yeah, like it. Yeah, it's a brand new question, so you're the first person to answer it. So congratulations.
I like it. I figure you can't. There's no point. There's no point getting soppy about it. It's ending anyway, and it's ending for everyone. So you may as well just be doing what you like doing in a nice place, surrounded by people that you like. That's all you can do.
That's it. Yep. Completely. Well, it's been lovely speaking to you, and stay in touch. And I'll check out Blue Monkey in a bit more depth after this goes live. And I've enjoyed the Mosaic Session Pale Ale. I find it hard to read. But yeah, it's really nice. So I'm going to continue drinking it.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it.
Quick shout out.
You like it, and I hope you like the rest of it.
That's all right. Quick shout out to Goat Energy for doing a mango flavour. Hopefully you can see that. Brand new flavour available at goatdrinks.co.uk. Use the code Bedlam10 to get some money off. And yeah, I'm interested to see how you get on with Clean Break when they send you your cans. And yeah, it's all about helping each other out, isn't it? So, all good.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll speak to you soon. And cheers for watching, viewing,
Thank you very much.
listening, subscribing, TikToking. I don't fucking know what you guys do. You do what you want. Just don't hurt people, like Tom said earlier. All right, nice one. Speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Absolute Bedlam.
Hey guys, it's John here from Absolute Bedlam. We just wanted to take a moment to introduce you to our brand new Patreon. If you head over to Patreon now, you can get access to behind the scenes footage, ad-free content and episodes. You can even send your own requests in terms of the content you would like to see us create. All of this is available to you and more. We've got free options available to you as a patron with us. If you just want to support what we do and help build the Absolute Bedlam experience, a small fee of £1 a month, you can do just that. If you want to get access to that ad-free content, those ad-free episodes, for £5 a month, you can join the Hive. And if you want all of that and more behind the scenes footage, commission works with us, live Q&A sessions, for £10 a month, all of the madness, all of the chaos of Absolute Bedlam will be yours. So head over to Patreon now, become a patron, and join the Hive.
Absolute Bedlam podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?